Hey everybody, welcome back. So here we go. This is video number 1. I'm going to do a series of maybe 6 to 8 of these in the next couple weeks, and generally grouping my stuff together by general theme. Like there will be a lot of Star Wars, like big things, and then I'll do another one that's like small Star Wars things, and like my architecture stuff that you can see on the shelf back there. But this collection, I just thought I'd start out with this kind of random collection of several significant models that I really enjoyed making. They don't really have an overall theme, except for the fact that a few of them came from a series that a theme that Lego put out called Lego Ideas, where fans would build their own sets and submit these ideas to Lego for potential production into a real set. I'm going to use the term MOC, M-O-C, which means my own creation. It's a term that these adult Lego builders use a lot. So at the end of each video, I will show you one of my MOCs that I submitted to the Lego Ideas competition. Some of them I didn't, some of them I did. One's on the table right now. I'll show you that a little bit later at the end of the video. A couple of the others out here are just this great VW Beetle in the Creator Expert series. They have a whole series of these vehicles of this scale. I intend on collecting them all, but this was a fantastic build, and I'll talk more about this in a little bit. And then I threw this very large Stranger Things model in here. We'll talk about that in great detail in a moment too. So why don't we take a closer look at each of them individually? All right, let's get a look at this Volkswagen Beetle. What a cool color. I'm not sure what model year this is based on, but it's definitely an old school Beetle in this cool blue color. It's actually one of Lego's newest colors. They, over the years, have introduced more and more colors, but this, I believe they call Light Azure, this color brick. And this was a notable set in that it introduced all these new shapes in that what was a very rare color. But this actually, I'm starting with this because it was pretty much my favorite build that I've ever put together. It wasn't easy. It comes in the Creator Expert line, and they weren't kidding about Expert. The detailing is just so wonderful, and the way the techniques that were used to achieve some of these curves. In addition to some of the curved parts, the way bricks are placed at diagonals and at angles to help with the curvature. One big help is that this was the first model to use this quarter circle piece, which gives this nice wheel cover here a beautiful curve. And now, since that piece has come out in several other colors and has been used to great effect in a lot of other sets. Obviously these doors open. The seats inside are a thing of wonder, the way they come together and they pivot forward like that. In the hood here, of course, we've got a spare in the front. So in these Bugs, these Beetles, the engine is in the back. I'll show you that in a minute, but there's a VW cap there on the gas. The spare is stored up here, and there's a couple other license plates up here in front that you can actually swap out. You can put on the front and back of this thing, so if you choose to have a more European license plate, you can do that. The back, got all these great surfing stickers, so you can just picture this thing, parked up against the beach for a day of surfing. We got this great yellow and green surfboard that stays in the top here and kind of hooks in there with some little rubber pieces. A little cooler. Inside the cooler, you even get some pieces of ice and some bottles and a can of Coke. Or beverage of your choosing. That sits up there. Once the back comes around here again, I want to show you. So yeah, this back trunk was a wonderful construction as well. And there's a look at the engine in the back. Even a little rubber band in there to show you one of the belts. Additionally, you might see through the back window here, there's a little rollout like picnic blanket that you could, it's just a piece of cloth that you can take out and pretend you're gonna have a picnic on the beach. This is of a larger scale to regular Lego minifigures. I'm just gonna borrow one for a minute. So the little figures are obviously dwarfed by this. So this is not meant for minifigures to ride in. It's not meant really for play, it's meant for display. So this is obviously a set that is going to appeal to a lot of collectors and adults. Just great detailing throughout, great building techniques, and a great color. Oh, and what do you think of my little rotating base here? Move that out of the way so you can see that the car rolls, and these really substantial wheels really help. So one of my all-time favorites, absolutely. And incidentally, the blue Volkswagen Beetle that I just showed you also came in the version, a much smaller version. It's like a miniature version of the exact same model. So here's the full size, and here's the miniature, and it came as a special sort of gift with purchase. If you, it was exclusive to the Lego store, so if you purchased a certain amount of stuff, they would send you this. You can't buy this on the shelf. It was only limited time, so it's all in pieces in the box still, and I don't intend to build it because I feel like this might be worth something someday. So I do have a few things that I have acquired over time that I'm leaving unopened in the box, in good shape, to hopefully attain value. Obviously, I don't have room for a bunch of stuff to collect, but some of these small little exclusives I do collect. So it's just a miniature of everything you just saw. So obviously the doors and hood and trunk don't open, but just a cute little thing that I think really appeal. And here, of course, is WallE from the 2008 movie, Pixar movie, that wonderful movie. This is a great model and a really fun build. This came out as part of the ideas line, meaning that a fan had constructed a prototype and submitted it to Lego, and they chose to put it into production because, I mean, come on, who wouldn't want one of these? Obviously, for all of these models that tie into movies and intellectual property, they have to sign licensing deals, and oftentimes that can affect the cost of this final product that you buy because everybody has to get their cut. So this wasn't a cheap set, but it wasn't unreasonable. It's just so well constructed, and it really evokes WallE so nicely. I'm going to take him off the stand now and show you. Now, this is my countertop, and the treads aren't actually going to run on this countertop because they're hard, and the countertop is very slick. But these treads do run on, like on a carpeted surface. You would get the treads to move. You can position his head, both the left to right position, and you can rotate the eyes in and out. You can create different expressions. So that's really fun. You can kind of have him look quizzically sad, curious, all these great expressions you can get from his eyes. There is the little compactor there that he carries. You can put whatever you want in his belly there, I suppose, but that flips down, and a couple other moving pieces. These little jets that he uses from time to time will rotate out from underneath that little flap. And then obviously the arms are completely positionable, both front and back. These little channels here, and then you can obviously articulate the digits that you get. You only get 3 digits really. 2 digits and an opposable thumb, you could call it, but still, he's able to have him grab a figure. In this hand, obviously, he's grabbing the plant, the savior of mankind, the green plant. And this little black thing, I believe, is supposed to represent the little cockroach thing that kind of scurries about in the film. So yeah, this was a very popular set. It was funny, there was a recall on it because the head mechanism wasn't, like the head kept flopping down on people. So they actually sent out, you could buy a little kit that would give you the parts needed to make the head, to repair the head to a much more stable construction that would actually have resistance and would let you position the head however without it constantly flopping down. So that's WallE. Yeah, it's a good one. Moving on to the Beatles Yellow Submarine from their trippy and psychedelic animated movie from the late 60s. This also came from the Ideas line, where it was a fan submission that turned into an actual set. And this came in such a beautiful box, I had to show you the box. They captured a lot of the artwork that was used in the film, the sort of animation style of the film and the font. So they did a great job with this box. Just very colorful, very flowery, very evocative of the original film. Very cool. And yeah, so it's not a huge thing, but it's apparently floating on some clouds here. It's got kind of a, you can remove this from this clear pedestal, but mostly yellow and orange. A lot of new molded pieces came in these, I think it's either, I'm not sure the name of this color. This is straight regular yellow, and this is a different kind of yellow. I forget the Lego term for it, but a lot of new pieces in that color, as well as these little smokestack pieces were fairly new at the time. I think this model came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, so beautifully rendered, very cartoony, and the top opens up, and the Beatles can ride inside. It's a very cool interior with some fun detail in there. Don't have time to look at every single thing, but the 4 Beatles, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, in their attire that they were costumed in the cartoon movie. They can all be removed from this little display, and they can be sitting inside the Yellow Submarine, piloting it. There was also a character, I need to rewatch this movie, but there was this little, I think it was called a Blue Meanie or something like that. This little guy came with it. This is a very strange movie, folks. So, but great music, and makes a great subject to turn into Lego, I think. So definitely a display piece for music lovers and collectors. Beatles Yellow Submarine. Here's a little set that is also part of the Ideas line. I'm just throwing it in here today in this video because it was part of that same line I was talking about. Again, a fan had this idea and submitted it, and it was made into production. Although this was a much smaller little thing. So if you know the movie Tron and the movie Tron Legacy, this is actually based on the sequel Tron Legacy. Because of the much more modern design, these are the Tron Lightcycles, and they come on a little display piece that you can have the good guy and the bad guy race. The good guy being the blue guy and the bad guy being the orange guy. Or lady, or however you want to look at it. Great little figures on here too. They've got their energy discs, their identity discs on their back, which can be removed and used. Oftentimes they have to use those in battle. These great all black helmets. So sleek, so cool. So yeah, so there's just one in orange, transparent orange, and one in transparent blue. And a neat little addition, and who would have ever thought that Tron would become something that you could get in Lego? But I think it's a really beautiful little representation. Based on Stranger Things, they call this the Upside Down. So it's basically a representation of not only that house, but as you can see, this entire model flips upside down to become the Upside Down, which is the parallel universe of what we're just looking at, the evil side of things, if you will. So everything that you see in the main real-world house is paralleled in the sort of mirror image in the Upside Down, but with a drab color scheme and all this mossy stuff growing on it everywhere and just dripping down from everywhere. So not only does the inside have two versions, or sorry, the outside, the exterior of the building. Let me just show you that again from the front. The real world with the mother and the sheriff Hopper and his car, or his truck, I'm sorry. And then we've got the kid, Will, who was trapped in season 1, trapped in the Upside Down. He's stuck underneath there. So this angle gives you, I couldn't get the camera pulled back enough to really show you how it looks from straight on, but that really gives you the mirror image look. So anyway, not only is the front represented, but the entire back side of the home cut away, not the back side, but the interior of the home is cut away as well. Every single room has all this great detail. His bedroom with the posters and the living room, and you'll recognize a lot of these things from the show if you watched that first season. But the Christmas lights will actually light up with a little battery-powered light here, and all that stuff is reflected in the sinister version down below underneath. So that'll sit like that, and then you can just flip it. And there we are, looking at the inside of the upside down version of that world. So yeah, this was just brilliant. And actually, I usually display this on my shelf with the real world hanging upside down, so that the car, which you can remove, the truck here, you can remove that. But I like seeing it all just stuck to the underside. And what makes this whole design possible is the way these trees are built. Really just pedestals on each side, top and bottom, that give you a flat surface to display the model on. So brilliant piece of engineering here, and pretty significant building process. So you get, figure-wise, you get the mother, the sheriff, the kid, and then you also have the kid's friends. There's Eleven and her waffle and her blonde wig that she wore in season 1, I believe. It was Lucas and Dustin and Mike were the other ones. So these are all great, I think, depictions of the actors who played these parts. So yeah, it's just a little display stand that gives you a place to put all those, and then wherever you want, you can put this Demogorgon. Pretty disgusting, right? People were actually pretty shocked that, that this became a set, just because of the sort of violent nature of it, and Lego doesn't normally do that, but you know, come on, who can resist a Lego version of the Demogorgon? He's still scary, but he's not as scary. I need to replace her on the upside down, or on the right side up. Anyway, a great model, a great piece of Lego engineering, and super fun. One more look at the backside. Even the Christmas lights that were strung up through the house and the colors are represented here without color. It's just a great overall design. So I had almost put this set away, and then I realized that I had one more thing that was related to it that I had to show you. When this came out, everyone really loved it, but a lot of fans of the show asked, "Where's Barb?" Barb, of course, is the character who meets her demise in season 1, but was a sort of cult favorite, fan favorite of the show. So they decided to make her as an exclusive figure that you couldn't buy. You had to get it at San Diego Comic-Con. It's an exclusive from Comic-Con, and there was a limited. There was like 200 of them made, maybe 500,000. I don't honestly know, but it was not a lot, and you had to be at Comic-Con and register and get in line and to even have a chance for the giveaway. I found it on eBay. Someone was selling it at not a fair price, but none of the prices were fair, and this was one of the fairest that I had seen. I jumped on it and I bought it, and it's never going to leave its plastic. It needs to retain its value by staying unopened. So yeah, that's the collector side of me coming out, but there's a card. All right, I promised that at the end of each of these videos I would show something that was an original creation of mine. This was actually one of my first original things that I did as a submission to the LEGO Ideas contest. It did okay. It didn't get far enough to be advanced to the final round for judging by the actual company. It has to go through fan voting first before it gets into the final stage. So this did all right. Didn't do as well as I had hoped, but I'm very proud of it. This is a Prism and Rainbow Spectrum, much like you would see on the cover of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon record. I wasn't actually thinking of it as that. I was thinking of it just as a science kit that would appeal to teachers and students of science, and I thought that would be enough to really grow some interest in it. I wanted to figure out how I could create the color spectrum in tight angles coming out of the glass prism. So this represents white light coming in, and as we may have learned in high school or college or elementary school science class, that white light is comprised of adds up all the colors of the spectrum into white, and Prism will break it back down into its subsequent colors. So it breaks back down into red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I wanted to figure out how I could make those angles fan out from a single point or close to a single point, but yet be represented in 3D and in LEGO, because LEGO is very blocky and you can't really do tight angles. So I came up with this idea that I would make these color bars and kind of stack them on top of each other. And these are 7 individual constructions that all are stacked on top of each other through sort of like a staircasing type scenario. So I was pretty proud of my solution for that. Through the middle of the glass, obviously this is supposed to represent glass. There are only so many clear Lego shapes you can use to create a glass piece, but the white light is coming through the middle of that from entering from this side. These walls of this triangle were extremely hard to engineer for me to make them stable enough. So basically they pivot out from the base on these little pivots, and they meet together at the top. Obviously it doesn't make a perfect point. I don't know of any Lego geometry that would make a perfect point, but just figuring all that out took a lot of time and a lot of experimentation on my part, and a lot of holding things, and then the whole thing would fall apart, and I'd say, well, no, it's gotta hold together some other way. So I figured out a lot of intricate ways to combine plates and tiles and windows into something that would be as stable as possible and still achieve the desired effect. To go along with this, to make it more fun, I designed and built 2 custom figs. This is Roy G. Biv. As you'll notice, ROYGBIV, the acronym of the colors. Roy here has each of those colors represented. He's got his red vest, his orange sleeve, his blue pants, his yellow face, his green hair, his indigo hands, and his purple or violet left sleeve. So he goes with that. And then I did a little paint job on a plain brown torso, and made Sir Isaac Newton. I almost said Isaac Asimov. Sir Isaac Newton was the physicist scientist who did a lot of experimentation with the physics of light and color, and he's often associated with the prism and the studies of color coming in and out of a prism. And so I gave him a little miniature prism. It's just a little clear wedge there, but he's holding that. So he's holding the miniature, and this is the phenomenon that he is illustrating. All right, that is my prism and spectrum. I'll show you something original at the end of each of these videos, but now I'm going to go edit this together. All right, I hope you all enjoyed that. Look for another video in maybe 2 or 3 days' time. It does take some time to set all these things up and talk about them and figure out what I'm going to say and edit the video together. I'm not a professional YouTuber yet.